Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the very last coffee break webinar of this week. I'm hoping that you are all hearing me loud and clear just now. If not, then please put a little post in the chat section at the right-hand side of your screen. I've got Laura and Richard working alongside me today, so they will be looking at your comments as I go through the presentation. If I can just ask that your microphones are switched off, if I can also ask that your video camera is switched off as well. And I hope you enjoy today's presentation. When I was working my way through this, it's actually more advanced steps. So for those of you who are new to Teams, please don't be put off by some of the things that I'll be showing today. I will try and keep this as simple as I possibly can, but I have to also be cautious that there are people who have been using Teams for a wee while and want to go into that in a little bit more detail. So today what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to look at staff collaboration. And you can see the 4 areas that I'm going to try and cover within that. I'm going to look at pupil collaboration, and again, there's quite a few areas there, and I know that there's a lot of people really wanting to examine assignments. I covered that on the webinar we did a few weeks ago, just before the Easter holidays, but I'm going to go into it in a little bit more detail and try and show you how you can provide some feedback. And then I should be able to go back and have a little look at OneDrive and SharePoint, but there's a couple of areas throughout the staff collaboration and pupil collaboration that kind of crosses over. So if you've got any questions at all, please put them in the chat section at the side. I am viewing them at the side of my screen just now, and I'll try and answer any questions that I possibly can. So I'm going to take you out of this presentation and into my team. And if you just give me 1 second, we've got 169 people on today, which is fabulous. This is also being recorded and will be put up on our YouTube channel and the remote learning site, hopefully by the end of today. So I'm hoping that you can all see my screen right now. Richard and Laura, can you just let me know if you can see that?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Sorry, I'm just going to change this over here. Hopefully you can still hear me now. Richard and Laura, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, so I am just going to go ahead and show you what I am looking at. Okay, so we're going into Teams. And you will see right now we are in the coffee break webinar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you in, first of all, into a team that I have created. So I'm not going to be showing you anything that that has already been covered. I'm not going to show you how to create a team. I'm going straight into the kind of nitty-gritty area. You will notice along the top that in this staff team, we actually only have 3 areas here. So we have posts, we have files, and we have staff notebook. Now, this is all about collaboration, and collaboration is all about 2 or more people working together to try and create something. So right now, a meeting would be classified as collaboration. I'm just going to take you to this part here. So too are posts. Now, what I've managed to do here is I have created a banner and I have put in a couple of details. So this is the sort of thing I could potentially be using with staff members to make them aware of some of the tasks that I want them to do. I'm just going to quickly show you how we would create that banner very, very quickly. I know Laura covered it, as did Richard, but just for those of you who are new on here, I will quickly go back over that. This section here is a test account that I have on, so this is a fictitious member of staff or pupil. And you can see that that person has actually been highlighted in this, so they have been tagged within that particular post. So how do we create that particular banner? So I'm going to jump down here And I'm going to click on the new conversation. I'm going to click on format, and I'm going to change this part here to an announcement. And at this point, you can then choose your illustration. You could choose this one. And I'm just going through this very quickly so that you can go back and have a look at it in the video. If you're wanting to announce it to someone, you put the @ sign at the front of their name, and there is my test person there. So I could then mention their name. I'm going to delete that there because I've got some other things that I want to show you within files now. So that's me covered the post section. Just by posting comments on your staff team page is a way of collaborating. Staff members can then reply to this post. They can tag you in that to say, well, I've actually covered these particular pieces of material. Now, if I go to the files section up here, I have a home learning documents. Now, this is different from the pupils team page because we normally have class materials, which is read only. Because we're in a staff team right now, all the documents in here can be editable depending on how you have set your team up. So by going into this more options and manage team, you can kind of play about with who has options to edit all of the documents or just some of them. At the moment, all of these are editable, so that Lourdes test account can edit some of these documents. What I've got here is I've got a document that we're using for home learning, and I thought I would just throw this up here to show how you can collaborate. I know that some people are looking at it for communicating with parents or pulling material together for parents, pulling material together for pupils. It could be a scheme of work that you're working on. But on this occasion, I'm going to show you as a home learning plan. So I'm going to jump into the one for the 4th of May. And I'm going to let you see what that looks like here. So this is just a Word document, and because it's in Office 365, you can actually edit this online without actually having the Word software. So you can see what we have here. We've got just a blank document that can be then filled in by various departments. What you also have is you get this functionality here to actually have a chat about this particular document. So this is another way that you could be collaborating. And what I've done is I've already put in some comments. So again, I've tagged in that particular person that I want to be working on this. I need you to complete this for art, music and drama. And the Lourdes test, the fictitious person, has replied to it by saying, I've put a link in for the business education. So they are just having a little input into this section here. Sorry, I can see that my screen is lagging slightly, so I'll take this a little bit slower. So it just gives you that option of having a chat about a particular document. Now, each member, I'm currently in as myself, but this Lourdes test actually put this part in. This wasn't me. And all they did was they clicked the edit button and they added the material in. So that's another way that potentially you could be creating a document in there and then perhaps sharing it with your PT or your colleague or your head teacher, so long as they have a Glow account. On this occasion, you can add people in from external agencies. It's only people that have a Glow account that can access these files because you're in your team. So I'm going to close that section down. Here's another document that I've got that's for the following week. So this is just a kind of planning exercise, and it's again a good way of collaborating. Now I'm going to take you back into the post section, because that document and the chat facility that happens within that is now also sitting in this general post section. So here you can see the document for the 4th of May, and you could open it and edit it at this particular point. You can see the comment that I had put on, don't look at the time, and also the comment that the other member of staff put on this morning to say that they have edited. So hopefully that is us covered files section within staff collaboration, and I'm now going to take you onto staff notebook. Now, sometimes whenever I'm on sharing this through a webinar, it doesn't always work. So please bear with me if this doesn't go according to plan. Staff notebook and also class notebooks, which is the equivalent in the pupil section, is a lesson in itself. I mean, really, you could spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours just going over staff notebook and the OneNote. I'm just going to dip into it today to let you see how this looks. So a staff notebook, prior to this, you have to create a staff notebook. And when I've set up the staff notebook, I've asked for a collaboration space, content library, a leader only section, so that's only the owners of the team that can get access to this area, and then a notebook for each member of staff. Now, on this particular team, I only have one member of staff, which is the Lourdes test. And I'm going to let you see a couple of things that can actually happen. Within each member of staff, you can then create kind of subheadings. And I'm going to take you to this particular one with professional development. So this is something that Lourdes Test has typed in to their OneNote. And what I can actually do is, me being the owner of this team, I can then say, looks great. Share the video link on here. Once you get it. Now, the only thing about when you're collaborating, you don't always see who's put in what. So what I would suggest is, and I tend to do this on pupils' work whenever we use the class notebook, is I just tend to change it to a different colour. Sometimes if you want, I would then just tend to put in my initials. However, it does give you the option to be able to date stamp it and things like that. But as I say, I'm just tapping into this. The other things that you can have, so this is you as a leader, as an owner, looking at other members of staff's notebooks. You can see it could be parent communication, perhaps, classroom observations, maybe if you're doing a part of your CPD where you're self-evaluating your lesson, it could be that you put that in there. Then it could be the peer then puts their comments in. I mean, there's loads of areas for using these tools for collaboration. But as I say, this in itself is an hour and a half, 2 hours on its own. The collaboration space is an area where all of you can work within this section. So it's shared resources, staff meeting notes. And I'm just going to take you to this particular part because at the moment I am on a laptop demonstrating this to you, but everything that I'm demonstrating to you just now, you can do actually on the iPad as well. And I'm just going to show you this. I have an Apple Pen and I tend to write quite a lot of notes. And all I've done is, on this occasion here, this photo is an actual meeting, and some of my notes that I had recorded from that. This is just me and notes. You can share it to your OneNote, and that automatically put in that there. This was a pre-comment that, again, the leader would put in, just to try and demonstrate, well, where are you storing this particular material. There's another one in here, I think. No, I haven't. I've only put the one meeting in there just to demonstrate the link from notes on your iPad and inserting them. The content library tends to be an area whereby you, the owner or co-owners, can only edit material. So if this was a team of staff and you didn't want them to be able to edit particular pieces of material, then you could store that in there, and it's really easy just to add a new section just by simply clicking the plus button down at the bottom here. So that's us kind of covered the whole collaboration with staff, and I'm noticing the clock and I seem to be on time. As you can see, I have quite a bit to cover with regards to pupil collaboration. So I'm going to move on just now. I can see a couple of questions coming up here with regards to the team. When you create the team, you either create it as a staff account, a class account, or a CPD account, and that's why you get the different tabs along the top. That's the reason why I'm showing that. Also, with regards to Apple Pens, the iPads that we currently have in Glasgow City Council, it is the first generation Apple Pen which works. Don't buy the second one because it's not compatible, and they are available via PCOS. No, you don't get an Apple Pen in the rollout. That would be a school purchase. So hopefully I've answered your questions that are coming up there. I'm going to take you on to pupils in terms of pupil collaboration. And certainly within this period of uncertainty, my goodness, this is an area I can see us coming back to, and I'm more than happy to go over this in more detail if and when the schools go back. You will see here that the tabs along the top are changed slightly, and then this one here is one that you have to add in. The post section, you are able to hold a meeting similar to ours that we are hosting right now. However, pupils' videos are not accessible. You can mute and unmute the pupils in order to hear their comments. So on this particular one here, I've tried to change it about so that you can see different subject areas. My subject background is business education and computing science, so I've tried to add in, I've got some maths things, I've got some PE things, and here you will see that there is some ballet choreography. So again, just creating that banner after I've created the calendar appointment. So this is where you create your calendar appointment. If you then go back into your calendar appointment, you get that option, and I'll just try and show you here. Here we go. You get that option to edit the message. Now, at the moment, normally what would happen is you would just have the team schedule. All I've done is I've gone back into that part here. Apologies. I've gone back into this part here and changed it to an announcement so that I've got a nice clear heading going along the top. I've got a subheading talking about when it's going to be happening. So if we are doing any remote learning, and you want the pupils to follow a particular timetable, it could be that at 9 o'clock, right, this is your period 1 class, log on here, and it could be that that teacher is demonstrating, so that the teacher video can be seen, but the pupils' videos can, but the teacher could be demonstrating some of the moves. I kind of got that inspiration from Instagram. There's tons of people doing lots of different sort of exercise classes online. This can happen via Teams as well. So there we have that appointment created, and again the pupils would just click in here and join. So that's another way of collaborating. The calendar appointments were covered within Richard and Laura's webinars, so I'm not going to go back over that just now, just because I know we're kind of pressed for time. But if you watch their video clip, you'll get to see how to create the calendar appointments. Moving down here, again, there's another one that I've got, some HIT classes. When is it happening? And again, the pupils can reply to this section here. They have that opportunity to say, what do I need for this particular class? What's this going to be covering? They could be adding in comments, just similar to the way that you're adding in comments right now down the side. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the files section now within pupils, and I have to make you aware of a couple of things within this. Automatically, when you create a file section, the first folder that comes up is class materials. Now, if you're on an iPad, excuse me, or if you're on a mobile phone, which most of the pupils tend to be, you cannot even see this folder. This folder is read-only, so all materials within this pupils can edit. What I've done with my classes to kind of combat that is I've created an additional folder, maybe just like this. so that they see that this new folder that I'm creating here is editable. Any information in here could be that pupils go on and maybe it's a PowerPoint, maybe you have a PowerPoint template and you want the full class to have input into this PowerPoint. Then that's what they can do. You could have it that each slide has somebody's name and that pupil then goes in and sees what they've got to do within each slide. My only note of caution with that is it has to be set up so that the pupils know exactly what they've got to do. If they go into just a blank PowerPoint, they'll be typing all over the place. In the class materials, I have added in some resources. Now, this is where it kind of crosses over with OneDrive and SharePoint. The files that are here weren't uploaded from my desktop. So if I went into files right now, there's my desktop files. I haven't uploaded them this way. What I've done is I've gone into SharePoint. So I've opened this document up in SharePoint and I have went into my own SharePoint and moved these files over to it. Now, I've got a couple of video clips that I will post on the page later to let you see how to actually do that. And I'll come back to it in a little second, but it's just to let you see these are uneditable documents. So in here we have our instructions, we have our challenge map, we have the task that we want the pupils to do. If a pupil went into this area on a laptop or went into the other area which was editable and wanted to edit the document, so let me just see this all about me document, they would have to click on the three dots and they would then have to copy this. Now, when you click copy, it then gives you the option, right, well, where do you want to save this? So you would have to move it into your own personal OneDrive. Now, I appreciate I've now taken this a step further because a lot of you might be saying, well, how do you create OneDrive? Again, this is me going into a bit of detail, and this is more for advanced people who are using Teams. So you would click on OneDrive, you would it would then take you, and this is because I'm sharing this with you at the moment, it would then take you to your own personal documents or any shared folders, shared documents that you have, and ask you, do you want to copy it in there? So I'm going to click cancel at the moment. So that's kind of showing you how to access files. It's showing you how to collaborate on files. If I just go back into this section here. So the class materials, just to make you aware, this is just because I'm sharing this document with you just now. If I went back into the class materials, if I then went into any of my documents and I wanted to edit them, then I would have to click on not the copy link. You really want to be going into the document and clicking copy. This one hasn't copied over. I think it's because I'm presenting this to you just now. As I said to you, sometimes it glitches whenever you're on a full presentation. I've just noticed, can you upload book creator files and open them via Teams? No. So any of if you're opening them up on an iPad, yes. However, if you're opening up on a laptop, no. You may have noticed there I had a Keynote file. I can save them there, but because I'm on a laptop right now, I can't open up this file. I hope that helps answer that question. Class notebook. So very similar to the staff notebook, whereby you have all of your pupils. You can have notebooks for all of your pupils. Now, I use this because I have the luxury of having ICT suites. But when the iPads roll out, I really think this is something that pupils will be using. The reason being, you don't need to collect in jotters. whenever you're marking work. You can see all the notes that perhaps the pupil is taking. So if they haven't written anything down, then you can maybe put a little comment on that. Similar to before, you have a collaboration space that all pupils can access and work on, and you have a content library which is uneditable. I'm just going to show you something that you can do in the Lourdes test. So this isn't a test account. This is the trial account here. And what I've done is you can add PDF documents. So this is a PDF document that I had created on joining a team. You can see you can add lots of them. So there's another PDF document that I've added in. And then this is just a picture file. This is where I took inspiration for those other PDFs that are up here, and this was from Holly Clark, who is a great advocate for teams on Twitter. You could be inserting comic strips. So I know that we've got the Everyone Can Create and the Apple Creativity Every Day. One of them is creating a comic strip. This is some of my pupils' work. They've created a comic strip, taken a picture of it, and then just posted it in. Or it could be a photo journal. It could be that you want to ask a pupil to record a photo journal of their day, or perhaps their learning process. If it was a maths class, then it could be, well, what's your thinking process here? Like, take a picture of the start of it, take a picture of your completed answer, take a picture if you've managed to get it right, just to kind of show that way of collaborating. Now, the good thing about this is you have immersive reader. You can dictate. So I could click this button here and start speaking, and it would then type in what I'm saying. But the part that I love for handing back feedback, all about feedback, John Hattie is a great person that I like to talk about, is adding in audio. So let's say we'll go back to the comic strip section, and I want to put a comment in here. Again, I can click audio. And this is starting to record. Again, I think it's just hanging up a little bit because I'm presenting to you. But what should be happening just now is the record button will be highlighting. It will be recording me. And you could be saying, this is a fantastic piece of work, well done. You've really got to grips with the cyberbullying, and your digital skills are fantastic. You would then stop that recording, and what would happen is this would change into a little MP3 file, whereby the pupils can then hear your voice with regards to the feedback. So you can see here, you could then play that back, and the pupils can then hear your comments. I used this with my pupils whenever they were setting target grades, because they set a target grade, and I was like, well, maybe you're being a little bit overzealous with that grade, or let's think about your prior learning here, or that's a fantastic grade to work towards. I really hope you do well. These are the sorts of things that you can put in, and pupils like hearing your feedback. It's quick and easy to do. It's not time consuming at all. Now, I'm conscious of time, but I'm going to just keep going because I think this next section is something that you will want to know about. So, creating an assignment. You can create an assignment in a number of different ways. If I click on create, you can add in a Word document from here for adding your resources. It could be a PowerPoint, it could be a video clip. And again, my note of caution here would be really making sure that you have made explicit what you want the pupils to cover. So I'm going to discard this. This was me just showing you how you create a new assignment. I'm going to take you into some that have already been done. So on this particular one, this was a piece of work that the pupils had to complete. So looking at their assignment, this pupil has handed it in. If I look at the edit part here, this is the instructions that you saw beforehand. This occasion, it's got 8 points attached to it, and it's also got when it is due. Now, I tend to jump into this edit section here because I like to schedule things. So because we're already in one that's already been completed, the schedule button hasn't come up. But normally there's a schedule part here, and that's when you want to post the assignment. So for example, for my next week's work for our home learning, I've already scheduled all of their work. I'm saying that the due date is on such and such a time, and the closing date is when you're taking your final responses in. So it could be the same date as the due date, or it could be that you give, if the due date was a Friday, the closing date is definitely the Sunday, because you're then going to start marking them on the Monday. So that's some little options that you have there. On this particular one, it was a form that they had to create. Now again, this is another lesson within itself, and again, I'm happy to come back and cover that whenever we're looking at learning and teaching. But this was the actual task here. They had to type in their responses. They had some picture images here that they had to then type in. So again, this is for admin and IT, but you could use it. I know our tech department use it. It could be in art that you have an image in here, and then you're looking for their kind of thought process behind that image. That's up to you. I'm going to close this and I'm going to let you see what it looks like, because right now I'm in edit. Right now we're going to see what the marked one looks like for this pupil. So click on the person's name and you can see that this person has completed this. So they've got the question 3 right, question 4 right, question 5 was wrong. This was the correct answer, and this is what goes back to the pupils. I haven't marked any of this. This is what's been set up on the form. The one that I do need to mark, and apologies, I'm scrolling down here, is this question here, because this was a thought process question. It really needed to have a teacher input. So this is the one question that needs reviewed. It's looking for a benefit of proofreading, and this would be granted the mark. Now, that was question 10 on here, and say you've got 30 pupils here that you have to mark. Instead of you scrolling down by people, just go to questions, drop down to the last question, and then you can just mark that particular one. To go into the next person, you would go into view next. Now, I'm going to finish off with looking at one other assignment, and this will be the last one that I will be covering with you, and it's to take you into an assignment that has a Rubik's. Okay, so this particular assignment didn't have any marks associated with it. It had a Rubik's, and you would have this option here to click a Rubik's. I'm just going to let you see how we use it. So we have kind of banded our pupils in terms of the homework if they have demonstrated an awareness of something. This is just an option for you. This isn't something that is set in stone, but it could be that for gold you get 100 points, silver 60 points, bronze 40, and then no points for not completing it. But you can kind of see the difference between each of the kind of bands here and their awareness. Pupils see this, so they actually get access to this. It's almost like their success criteria. If I want to be gold, then I have to demonstrate all of this material. So the Rubik's is there. There is the document that I wanted them to work on, and I'm just going to show you how we would mark that, because this would be classed as collaboration. So I'm clicking on their work. This is the pupil's document, and you can see here I've changed the details for it. This is a pupil's document that I marked on the iPad, and I'll show you how you can quickly mark it just on the computer. You would click Edit Document, open it up in Word, and then you can start to edit it. But if I want to mark this with the Rubik's, this pupil here has got 60 points. So all I need to do is click on the one that I want and then return it to the pupil. Creating feedback on the iPad, we'll probably go into another lesson. So I'm giving you kind of an overview here of collaboration and the things that you can do in it. Really looking at assignments, you're probably another webinar. Looking at forms, you're probably about another hour, and looking at one note, the class notebook and the staff notebook, is probably another hour and a half. So if you are keen for that to happen, then put little comments on the general tab for the coffee break, and we can see if we can try and pull some people together to present that information. I hope you found today useful.